Is it impossible to know God? To answer that question, we will have to understand the accuracy. In the universe, can we know accuracy? The answer is, it is impossible to know the accuracy. The more we seek accuracy, the more we have a limit on our measurement mechanisms. Our eyes can even see a limiter, our senses have limitations. And that includes deviations. A deviation is a probabilistic rule that tells us that the measure can be between one position and the other. We can know the air, but not fully understand it. We can know a friend but not in its entirety. We can know the universe but not in its totality. In fact, we cannot even fully know ourselves. But things are more complex and others simpler. Even the simplest ones we cannot fully understand. In mathematics we have the so-called transcendent numbers, even though they are part of mathematics, which is by definition, they determine numbers that cannot be known in their entirety. Some with more complex functions, others with less complex functions. But all are not comprehensible in their entirety, but in their action. For example, we use the number pi, which is the basis for the design of a circle. Even if it seems simple to see a circle, the number that underlies it is incomprehensible in its entirety. For the more we try to seek accuracy in the design of the circle, the more numbers appear, and we never arrive in a perfect circle. If it is impossible to know anything in its entirety, it is logically impossible to know God in its entirety. But just as we can see a circle and know that in its foundation there is a logical basis based on an irrational number, pi, we also have a universe and we have a base that we define as God, who is the foundation of the universe. Here a statement appears without proof. What could be dogma? Since dogma is a presentation as an indisputable fact. In other words, I say something and that statement is indisputable, and the truth is independent of what anyone says. Was that so? The first issue is that the universe can only control a system if there are laws equal to or greater than the complexity of what it controls. If there is anything more complex than the universe, that complexity destroys the universe because it cannot sustain such complexity. So the universe must have laws that underpin and control all of the actions of the universe. A being more complex than the universe would consequently be like God for that universe, being able to shape it and evolve its similarity if it wished, but it would be impossible for something with a complexity to form something with a complexity greater than the initial complexity. In fact, the universe has to be all the more conscious, the greater the awareness that such a universe holds, and not the other way around. Thus the universe or beyond entity would be what such people determine God. God can be more complex than the universe, and generate the universe, or it can be the universe itself. He just can't be less complex than something existing, because in that case, God would be the most complex. So we have to know God, as we know all things, in our limitation. In fact, God would be the only entity that could understand anything in its accuracy. So a person who defines that it is impossible to know God would have to defend that it is impossible to know anything. But if at any time he says he knows something, accepting the deviation of that knowledge, then that person must accept that he knows God, by the system of his variability. In fact, the basis of the existence of God and of all things is logic, which is based on reason. The field of variability, on the other hand, is not the field of reason, but of possibility, And in this field there is no reason, there is an assumption. In that case there are different religions, different tastes, different policies, and so on. The reason, when logically employed, and rationally grounded, it tends to seek convergence based on physical tests and observations. The anthropocentrism that the name itself is already anti-physical, since man in physical science is not the center of anything, he already works contrary to the universal reality. We see the consequences in wars, in the destruction of nature, and similar things. So any vision of knowing God must be based on constructive convergences in universal laws in a holistic way.
If you are looking for more content from different areas, visit the reformadorstad.com website. News and detailed content can be found. With system of research and organization of text and video.